moderator. Okay, I think we should begin. Well, first of all, welcome to Drag Beyond Gender. Thank you all for coming to this panel. I think we should start by introducing ourselves and saying our preferred pronouns. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and my preferred pronouns are they, them, or she, her, hers. I like they, them, but you can call me she, her, anytime because the future is beautiful.
Hi, I am Chachki, and I don't care too much about pronouns unless I am in drag, and then it's she. So I feel like she is probably just the best bet all the time, so just she is probably the best one to go with.
Hello, my name is Lolo, and I am she. Hi, my name is Anthony, and I'm in drag.
Hello, my name is Chiyo. I am they, them, or he.
I'm so excited to be the moderator for this panel. This is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Sorry. It's been a long day, you guys. But we've got some questions. There's only 4, and actually one of them is just a Q&A section. So. But we're going to start, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation about gender today. Now, the first question on my little list here is, why do we have to label everything? And I think we should all just respond honestly to this, because personally, I would love to tear down the idea of labels. But that's a tricky subject, because when you are redefining your own truth, when you are living your truth and you're redefining your own reality, sometimes labels are important. For someone who was born in a male body who transitions to female, it's important to give them the labels that they've worked hard for and that they feel, and that is their truth. So I think it's kind of like at the same time that we can say labels are just words that we as human beings created, we also can say they do have importance to people, and we just have to honor everyone's own reality and truth. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel like language is very important. I mean, just for your thoughts. I mean, I think you can sit here and be like, who am I? What am I? And like, how do I describe that just to myself? It's your internal monologue. So I think language is really important. I think it's comforting to know that you're not alone. And so using labels like terms like gender fluid, I think is important. Creating new terms, creating new spaces for that terminology is very important, just so that you can relate to one another and feel like you're not alone. I really feel like that. That's really important right now. That's how I feel. Like, okay, so-and-so is going through the same thing I'm going through. Especially like the drag sisters, we go through like, you know, we totally have like, the spectrum is really wide and we go through ups and downs, twists and turns. It's really nice to know that I have drag sisters who feel similarly to that I do for my own gender identity. So it's also important, but you also can't label other people without knowing what they prefer.
Oh yeah, labels are important if you decide they're important to you, but we don't have to put labels onto other people. It's about letting people label themselves and then respecting that label.
I think labels are extremely important. From my end, I find that it's a lot more interesting if you smash the box from the inside. You get inside.
That's a cute little tone player.
Like if you join something or associate something and work hard to feel a part of something, labels can be so important to individuals. There may become a point in our lives where the labels don't really matter anymore. But it's so important for the respect of everyone around us, and also to fuck with that and redefine that and what it means. I think it's really fun.
I think a lot of the time the importance of labels is kind of related to what kind of applies to you and how hard you've had to fight for it. I mean, I'm a trans masculine person as well as a drag king, and both of those fields, it's sometimes difficult to be recognised in society because it's two kind of things that people don't know about. So I know I do tend to bring onto those labels with pride, and it helps me find spaces where other people I know have the same experiences as me, same time, I think sometimes there's problems when people get labels wrong. I mean, I think a lot of people's perception of what a drag king is the kind of reverse of what they think a drag queen is, which is a man in a dress, essentially, to reduce it massively, obviously. So what people think a drag king is a woman in a suit. And at least in the UK scene, that is not true for almost all kings. Most of us don't identify as women, in my experience.
Yeah, I second everything everyone has said. Labels are so important. But I also think that we need to come to a point where everyone understands labels. And yeah, I can say these labels are important to me because this is my identity, and vice versa with like so many trans people, so many people of color. But if the rest of the community is not understanding those labels, then what's the point? Because I'm gonna rock up to a queer space and I'm gonna get misgendered because we haven't come together to an understanding on how we define these labels, if the labels are relevant to the person.
Yeah, just to wrap up this subject, I think the two things we need to remember is that words are created by us, the human beings, and the society the society that we're living within. So if we create the word, we assign the importance to the word, and that means through time we can reassign importance to that word, and we can redefine what that word means. So the word gender is something we created as a society a long time ago, and now we're redefining what that word means. So it's an important label, you know, labeling ourselves is important, but it's also worth recognizing that we can always redefine those labels, and we can always redefine the language that we use. And I think sometimes I hear people say like, well, I feel weird saying they, them, because it seems impersonal. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter what it seems like to you. What matters is that you're respecting the person who asked you to call them they, them, you know? I think it's also worth noting that the music is extremely loud, you guys. It's a little disrespectful. So I'll just ask everyone to speak loudly and clearly so that our lovely audience can hear us. Our next question is pronouns, preference, and the do's and don'ts. I think the do's and don'ts, the do's is ask people what they want to be referred to as, and the don'ts is don't ignore that.
It's pretty simple. I feel like sometimes I mess up though because I assign female gender to literally everything.
Yeah.
I call everything a she. And so even like with my trans men friends, I'll be like, girl, like, did you really think? I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I like freak out. And it's like, you have to have that conversation with each individual person. And I have some trans men friends who are like, kind of like, hey, stop, or like, don't call me girl, even if it just is like in a frivolous way. And some trans men friends are like, girl, you know.
Well, I think it's important noting that sometimes even well-intentioned people, even educated people on this topic, misgender people or make a mistake. And I think when we make a mistake, our natural instinct is to go to the defense and to say like, oh well, I didn't mean to do that, so don't get mad at me because it was an accident. It's like, how about you just say sorry, correct the mistake, and move on together as two human beings, you know? And I think what Mark was saying earlier about drag being a man dressed as a woman, drag is expression of gender. You know, it's not about being a man dressed as a woman or a woman dressed as a man. It's about portraying your depiction of gender, whether that's masculine gender, feminine gender, or neither.
And now it's like literally to like alien genders, like
Yeah.
fully on like full circle.
No, I think it's what I really enjoy is that conversation, the ability to say sorry, I got it wrong, and developing and furthering it. What I really love about pronouns and labels is the fact that gender is now like one of the first things we discuss in a conversation. We're meeting people and we're talking about ourselves, our identity. We're going further than the, oh hi, how are you? We're like, who are you? And that's incredible, and I think that's making us more intelligent and more emotionally intelligent. And I think it's really, really exciting to see where that goes. And I understand that we make mistakes. Christ knows, I screw up all the time, and I'm terrible. I also mistake, like, and I always say, all right, man, it's just a general thing. It's learning to find with the individual person what is their individual needs, and learning to have that discussion with strangers is great, and we should actually really experiment with that, so I'm really enjoying it.
I think moving through the drag world, certainly as a trans-masculine person, can be difficult because so much of the vocabulary comes from drag queen culture, because that's what's been the mainstream, and it is the sort of feminizing of everything in vocabulary, and that's not, it's not that they're looking at you and saying, hey girl, and they think you're a girl necessarily, it's the, if you've grown up trans-masculine, that's a label you've had to fight to get away from, so sort of the hearing it is just, kind of throws you off a little bit. And I think for me, I'm all fine with people making mistakes occasionally, but I think if it's the same person and they've made a mistake 2, 3, 4 times consistently, what that tells me is that you're not doing the mental work to see me as the pronoun that I've told you I am. If it's a repeated reflex mistake, that means that that's what you think in your head. That you can sort of say the words and like, oh yeah, marketing or whatever. But if you keep calling me Chiyo or referring to her as her in conversations, then I know you haven't done the work to process what I say to you. So mistakes are fine, but it's on the part of everyone to try and actually put the energy into understanding.
Yeah, I think pronouns are really black and white with me. I'm just like, it's pretty simple. Someone tells you their pronouns, you respect their pronouns. If you fuck up, you apologize. Don't overtly apologize, because the worst thing you can do to me is make me feel like I now need to validate you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I can't. See, the thing is, being trans, as well as like doing a show and having to go through all of the mental stress that comes with preparing for that, there is also the element of body dysphoria. So when I get misgendered, which happens a lot, like 2 out of 5 shows, sometimes when they're hosting me, and by the way, if you're hosting, know the fucking pronouns of your performance.
Yeah, that's step one.
Absolutely.
I have one job as a host.
So yeah, as soon as you get misgendered, it's like boom, entire body dysphoria kicks in. You question, what is it? Is it the bind? Is it the hips? Is it the face? What is that? So don't now make me feel like I need to validate your apology because you fucked up. Yeah.
I also think, sorry. I'm just so passionate about this topic. I also think it's worth noting that even though we are all fighting the good fight, you know, I believe everyone in this audience right now, we're all going out into the world trying to make it a better place for all of us. I also remind everyone, safety is extremely important. And while I want people to be passionate and I want people to fight, I also want people to keep themselves safe. And the best way I can relate to it myself is I have to go through the airport like every other day, and the airport is the most gender-phobic place. It doesn't matter what city, what country. The airport, because they have to scan your body and put you into a scanner, and then they gender you the second you step into the scanner, and if your body doesn't match the gender that they think you are, then they make it your problem, like you're trying to trick them. And I could get angry and I could fight.
I've been there at TSA with Jinkx before.
and I have gotten angry and fought.
I did giggle, but it was not fun.
But I also know sometimes you just kind of have to keep yourself safe, walk away from that situation, find their superior, call up Delta or whoever, Air France or British Airways, and be like, listen, this person behaved entirely inappropriately, and I couldn't call them out on it because I had no power in the situation. You know, they could have kicked me off my flight if I'm like, how dare you, you know? But it's like, you gotta keep yourself safe, but don't lose your passion and don't lose your rage. Just use it effectively. Don't put yourself in unsafe situations. Use it to educate someone rather than putting yourself in an unsafe situation. I just don't want any more people being killed because they're transgender. And the most that we can do as a queer community is come at it with compassion and patience, but don't lose the rage. Just use the rage. Use the rage effectively. You know, don't put yourself in unsafe situations. That's the only thing I ask of everyone here today. The last question is the future of drag, future of gender, sorry. Future of drag, the future of gender. And I have a story.
I'm the future of drag.
I was just, yeah, my brain went back to season 4. The future of gender. I'm gonna open this up by sharing an anecdote, and it's something I've been only recently kind of sharing with people, but at 7 years old, my mom suspected that I would rather be a woman than a boy, and she asked me outright at 7 years old, would you rather be a little girl than a little boy? And I said, yes. And she said, okay, well then this is what we're going to do. We're going to take you to the doctor, they're going to give you medicine, and then one day, when you're old enough, they'll chop your penis off. That's what my mom said, and it was progressive for the time. This is 23 years ago. It was progressive that my mom was even having the conversation with me so young, and she was doing her best. But we weren't having the conversation back then that we're having today, which is some women have penises, some men have vaginas, and that's fine. So at 7 years old, my mom was like, would you rather be a girl? And I said, yes. She could have then said, well, you could either be a girl with a vagina, or you could be a girl with a penis. Which would you like to be, you know? But no, instead she said, we're going to chop your penis off. And I decided at that point I wasn't going to transition. But now I'm 30 years old and I'm like, I know I'm going to be an old woman someday. I don't know, maybe I'm taking the slow and steady route. I don't know where my future lies for my own personal gender, but I do know I'm keeping it wide open for however I feel as I continue to age into the beautiful MILF that I am.
Beautiful MILF.
Don't test me.
We're talking a lot about actually transitioning, but we haven't talked any about kind of misogyny or transphobia or femphobia within the gay community itself. And I'd love for the future of that to be different as well, and kind of what gender norms look like within specifically cis male gay community. And hopefully in the future that will kind of work itself out as well. I'm not sure exactly what steps need to be taken, but I feel like that needs to be talked about a lot more and acknowledged and called out a bit more. It's something that I have to deal with as someone who's gender. I know you have to deal with it too. I'm sure we all deal with it.
I mean, I'm an avid Grindr user, and I can't tell you how happy I am that people are now saying like, fuck mask for mask, okay? You know? And it's fine if you're attracted to masculinity, but don't like put it out there like the only good way to be is masculine. You know, like it's all beautiful, okay?
I completely agree. The future gender for me is the destruction of assumption. It is taking away what you believe I can do before I can do it. Especially operating as a drag queen in my current biological setting. I'm sick and tired of people telling me, oh, you can't do that because of this, you can't do that because of this. I feel the future gender is going to just be the eradicating of the word you can't.
Yeah.
It'll be the listening and accepting you are.
Yeah.
It is the transition that we'll be moving into where we see the person before us and they tell us and they express themselves to us before we build anything up for ourselves. And that's really where I really want to try a gender to go. That would be lovely.
Yeah, let's work towards that.
The destruction of assumption, that was beautifully put.
I'm going to write slogans for presidents one day.
Hashtag, yeah.
I'm not sure I can put it any better than that, to be honest. Like, I completely agree. I think, in terms of looking at what the future of gender is, I think in many ways it's drag. It's, if you want to look and see, drag's always been ahead of its time. If you want to look and see what the future of gender is, it's what people are doing on the most most radical forefronts of drag. Not just mainstream drag, but if you come over and look at that stage over there, the variety that there is within the UK drag scene and the American drag scene as well, is sort of what's driving, in my opinion, a change towards all the things that Lolo was talking about, although there's a really long way to go. If you look at all the sort of looking at gender in newspapers and stuff, a lot of the time drag, because of how popular it is and how sort of aesthetic it is, that's what they use as a way to talk about it. So they say, look at this person who's doing this cool performance thing, let's talk about some other stuff around that to do with their gender. So I think that's a really good avenue as well. And yeah, I agree with Lolo, it would just be the removal of expectations and the weight that they put on you, the removal of double standards, so that when a drag queen comes on that stage, we'll get just as big a cheer as a drag queen who sort of does a cool flip or we're throwing ourselves around, and that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I think the future of gender is truly, I agree wholeheartedly with Violet, is dismantling these barriers and expectations that we have within the queer community. And I say queer because I see so many things advertised as queer and it's not. You are not queer, shut
It's like a buzzword right now. Like, girl.
I will tell you exactly how. Baby steps, right? This is a predominantly queer event, right? There are no sanitary bins in the men's toilets. Guess what? Men menstruate. If I was on my period right now, I would have the worst weekend ever because you did not give a fuck about the T in LGBTQIA+. And also, I cannot tell you how many queer venues have binary toilets.
Like, that's not, I can't fathom that when I go somewhere. I'm like, really? You guys put me here, like this gender bathroom? Like, really? You're gonna do that to me?
We are now going to open up. Where's our lovely microphone person? Okay, there we go. There's the microphone. So let's start with someone close to the microphone. So let's go right there, that lovely person, yeah.
Hi all, thanks to Jinkx for the first person I ever
Speak very loudly, we can't.
Sorry. Jinkx, you were the first person I ever discovered, like, who was like famous, who identified outside of the binary, and for me that really helped me to come out to my family, which is like a big factor to that. But I want to know what you guys thought about, so I always see a lot online from certain trans groups saying that drag is inherently transphobic, and I disagree with this, but I want to know what you think in regards to fighting that.
The way I feel about that, just as succinctly as possible, is how could drag be transphobic when so many drag performers are trans, you know?
Like, the start of drag was like trans people.
And that doesn't mean that every drag performer is trans, but to say that drag is inherently transphobic discredits and disvalues the trans people who contribute and create the drag community that we know today. So while I understand that there is transphobia within drag, we have to call it out when we see it. We have to hold people accountable when drag performers are being transphobic. I see lots of gynophobia still existing in drag today. People making fun of the vagina without any regard to the fact that, like, A, there are people in their audience who have vaginas, and then there are queer people that have vaginas who are part of their family, and to be gynophobic on stage is not helpful. So we call it out when we see it. But that doesn't mean that the whole art form is transphobic, because the art form itself celebrates people claiming their own gender and projecting the outward appearance that works for them and that is their truth. So while I want you to call it out where you see it, you can't say blanket statements like drag is transphobic, because you are devaluing the trans people who participate in drag and make it the progressive art form that it is today. Anyone else? Sorry, I kind of nailed that. Well, I'd like to hear from some of the trans-identified people on the panel who do drag.
I think think to say that drag is exclusively transphobic is completely disregarding the idea that drag and to be trans complement one another for some people sometimes. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, everyone's going to have an opinion about, you know, what is and what isn't transphobic, but I think it's really disrespectful to disregard, I mean, the legacy that is drag and is trans people in our community. It's ridiculous to totally disregard the whole history of it. I mean, it's kind of like, these are the facts.
Yeah, I mean, look at the receipts, people. Where's our microphone? Where's the microphone? I can't even see. Where's the microphone? Oh, yeah, all the way back there. Let's get someone near the microphone. There's a person wearing sunglasses right there. Yeah. Oh, this is the final question. I'm so sorry. We just had so many good points that the panel is almost over. So you get to be the final question, darling. So make it a good one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so over the past 60 years, there seems to be kind of waves of rise against perceived oppressions, so for example, racism, LGBTQ issues, and more recently gender. I'm not saying that these wars have been won. However, what do you see the next rise against to be?
That's hard to predict. Personally, I think the reason why we see an ebb and flow, like we see progress made and then we see backlash, and we get pushed back a step, but it's always about 2 steps forward even if we occasionally have to take 1 step back. You know, we're always pushing for more and more because we're fighting the good fight. We are on the side of right. We are trying to make the world a better place for everyone. And the backlash comes from people who feel like change is inconvenient to them, you know? I mean, like in America right now, we're seeing this backlash because we had 8 years of a lot of progress, more progress than we had seen in decades. And now the backlash is all these people who are upset about change because it's inconvenient to them. They're fighting to push us back. But the thing is you can't undo progress. Like, you can't undo, I mean, I guess you can. I guess this all good. We never know what could happen, you know? But I think when a community takes a step forward, you can't then ask that community to give up what they've won, because once you give it to us, there is no way we are going to relinquish it, you know? What do you guys think might be the next big battle we're fighting once we keep fighting this good fight for gender? Do we think
I'm exhausted. I can't think of more battles. This is a lot already.
I think that something that's happening alongside gender is sexual preference and fetish and things like that are becoming more socially acceptable and more socially talked about, which is also bringing to things like consent and stuff like that, which is an ongoing discussion, of course. But I think we're watching side revolutions happen alongside each other, and they eat into each other, which is creating honesty in conversation and honesty in ourselves about who we are and, heaven forbid, what we want.
Yeah, I guess in some ways when a backlash starts, to see it in a positive light, which is difficult sometimes, it kind of shows that a lot of noise is being made. People are hearing the noise and they're seeing it, and people who don't want to relinquish the power that they have, noticing what's happening, and that's where the backlash comes from. I mean, I think there's that breaking point of a group who are fighting for rights, getting to a certain point, not being that strong still, but being heard enough that people start fighting back. And it's that point when the issue comes more into the mainstream, that the importance of allyship and everyone else coming on board who that issue doesn't apply to is crucial, because it's to push through that backlash. I don't know what the next one is. I think we're still in the middle of this one.
I think we really need to focus on trans people of color, and this people completely ignore the disparities in murders and suicides within the trans community of, you know, white trans people and black trans people, or trans POC in general. I cannot tell you how many trans days of visibilities I've gone to where even if I am not hosting the event, I am asked to read out the names because no one else can pronounce them because they're all white and every single name is literally a person of color. And until this conversation is being had more, like we're at the end of this panel and race has been brought up now by the person of color, until everyone is talking about this, this is the battle we should be focusing on.
That was a beautiful sentiment to end on. I mean, I think the reason why we need to focus on supporting our queer family members of color is because we're having a conversation in a way we've never had it before, where we're not skipping around the issues, we're not avoiding certain things, we're saying enough is enough. We can't just pretend like everything's fair and equal across the board for everyone because it's fucking not, you know? It's time for us to stop bullshitting each other and just demand equality for all people of all races, of all gender and sexual preferences, all identities, all presentations. We are done putting up with inequality. And I think the queer community is at the forefront of this fight. So it is up to us to support each other, each and every member of the queer community. Support your queer family members of color. Support your queer trans family members. Support each other, because if we are not unified, we can't take over the world and make it a better place. Thank you all so much for coming. We're going to stand up for a photo op. We'll be here for a few moments so you can get a picture of this extremely sexy panel of people. Thank you guys. Have